In Uganda, fiscal planning has had a number of challenges. Most of the urban areas and local governments have prepared physical development plans. So that means a number of areas in Uganda have the plans. But the challenge we are facing in the fiscal planning fraternity is the failure to implement these physical development plans.
We've taken a step to ensure that the entire country is under a planning mode. We decided to do an intervention in Jinja city, whereby we are doing a model city plan. This model plan will go a long way to build the capacity of both the city planners, the ministry planners, as well as showing the way to go to other planners.
What is the process that we went through to come up with such a good plan for Jinja? First of all, we said that this process has to be participatory. Participatory meaning people had to be engaged. All the people in the municipality or city, we made sure that they had to be aware that we are planning Jinja. You see, with planning, fiscal planning, you're planning an area, but when it comes to implementation, you're going to tell people that this proposal here, this school, will be implemented in your land. So this person has to be aware that where I'm sitting here, there is a proposed industry. I'm sitting in an industrial area. So stakeholder engagement is very key, and we followed it during this planning process, and that's why we are able to come up with a good fiscal development plan.
Ekisooka ennombe tubaire wano ibaire ddala isi nga nekisookerwako irala. Ekyokubiri ng'omuntu waafa ekyebibi n'ayita wano n'afuna enumba ayanguwibwa okutuuka mu tawuni mangu. N'ekisembayo nti wano wabaire ebyobwereere bingi ng'ebyokulya. Omuntu kanje mu kibuga ekyebuyala emmere tiya bbeeyi.
Kati mukola mutya nga musala ekkubo awatali
tusala naye abalala babatumira.
The concern is on the specialized children's hospital. These days we talk of specialized women's hospitals, specialized cancer institute, specialized this and the other. I think we need a specialized children's hospital in Northern Division.
When you're planning for the industrial city of Jinja, we know very well that raw materials and other things will not basically come from this city. Not even market. Why don't we think about the rest of Busoga? I'm a member of Busoga Consortium, and I'm also concerned about what we are talking about. We are talking about modern agriculture. We have a project running in Kamuli in Kasore, which is supplementing on what the issues that we are raising in terms of urban agriculture and all that. How is this master plan capturing those other advantages around the region of Busoga, such that every Busoga feels that this is a city that concerns them?
The team was able to collect data on a number of aspects, both spatial and socio-economic data. Whenever a planning team is tasked to prepare a fiscal development plan, it is very important that the team collects data about the area or community being planned. It is this data that informs the planner about the existing conditions or the prevailing aspects within the city, so that the planner is able to make feasible proposals for the community.
For the case of Jinja, we basically used a GPS, a global positioning system device, to capture and store the spatial locations of the objects. When we pick the information, we come to the office to do our desktop works. We get the GPS and the appropriate cable to download this work and put it into the computer. Here in the GIS unit of the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, we are using a number of softwares, but basically 3 of them, or mostly 3 of them. One is QGIS, the other one is ArcMap, and the last one is AutoCAD. Though sometimes we use also ArchCAD if we feel that we need to demonstrate a 3D dimension of something under study or investigation. QGIS and ArcMap, we basically use them to do the physical development plan. Then AutoCAD, we use it to do plot subdivision, which people call detailed plan. Now when we come from the field, we get the device, GPS device, put in the cable in here and connect it to the computer. Of course, the computer should have the appropriate software, and as you can see, the computer is trying to read this device, and the moment it reads it, it shows you that it is connected. Then for our case here, other people use Basecamp to download these points. For us, we are using DNR Garmin. So when you come to the computer, you get that DNR Garmin GPS, and when you click on it, it will eventually connect and tell you that it shows you the type and the version of the GPS and the software you are using, meaning that now it is ready, it is communicating, the computer is communicating with the device, and it is ready to pick whatever is on the device or to send what is on the computer to the device, depending what you want to do. So we download data, just like you can see here. After downloading this data, the way you see it being downloaded, when all is well, it will put there complete. Now after the data has been downloaded, for example, we can now load it into the GIS software or platform. So when the coordinates are downloaded into the system, they will change the shape. You will see if it is a point, it comes as a point. If it is a line, it comes as a linear feature. If it is a polygon, and it will show you that it is a polygon. So adding is easier. When you add, eventually they come onto the computer. Then you can label them to know what each point on ground means. Then from there we go into issues of digitizing, data cleaning, rationalizing, suitability analysis, and the end result is something we see here as the PDP, or Physical Development Plan.
This is a plan that has adopted a number of planning approaches that were used to produce it. For example, the metropolitan approach where we looked at Jinja and the metropolitan area, the area beyond Jinja city, the boundaries of Jinja. That included Kakira, Mutai, Njeru municipality, part of it. So then we planned within, we planned the Jinja, we actually looking at what is surrounding the Jinja, because then we don't want to plan Jinja in isolation of the neighbors. There are particular activities that take place within the neighborhood and have an influence on Jinja, on what should happen in Jinja. It was integrative. We were looking at different planning documents that guided what kind of spatial proposal we could make. We looked at, for example, the Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals. We looked at all of them, and then we made proposals how best each of the Sustainable Development Goal as adopted by these countries can now be addressed within our plan. And we were looking at, for example, Sustainable Development Goal number 1. I think it is it zero, no poverty, then zero hunger, education, things to do with life below. Then there are a number, including the most pronounced one on urban development, Sustainable Development Goal number 11, creating cities, sustainable cities that are resilient. So we were looking at all and developing strategies as they were developed to see how best we can now incorporate them within our plan for the good of the people of Jinja. We have looked at all these and then created a number of proposals on how best we can harvest good out of these, those that we have not been. But I don't want us to forget the fact that Jinja is a city for tourism, industry, trade, and commerce. Yes, we promote others like housing, environmental conservation, things to do with urban agriculture, and so on. But these three, they are the strategic areas of direction the city of Jinja is taking.
So after coming up with these plans, the fiscal development plans were presented to stakeholders for their buy-in. Because as a planning team, we went in the preliminary phases of the activity, we went to these stakeholders and informed them about the planning process, and they gave us their proposals that we incorporated into this beautiful fiscal development plan. After coming up with a draft, we were able to go back to the community, presented this draft to the people, and they were able to appreciate it. We even displayed it for 90 days as per the Fiscal Planning Act 2010.
Tubaire tuli mu kyalo kino nga effete tweed plan y'ebyalo aye bwe baidde batusomesa twafuna n'abataka balala era twaba nga tusiimye olw'omusomo ogwo olw'okwenda kubanga physical planning okupulaninga okwo kuba kuli kutegeeza nti kwenda tuba tujja kutandika enkulaakulana kubanga bye batusomesa ife beene nife tubitairemu twakwaye twenda batubuuziiza bulungi ng'ezira kutukaka era twayikiriza ife beene bye tuli kwenda mu kyalo kyaife ife beene nife tubitairewo nife tubakobye era baabiwandiika.
Abantu bange basanwike ino okubona ku bantu bano waire ng'omusomo gwagayalamu aye bakisanukire okuboneka nti bateebwa mu kifaananyi ekyokubanga batambulira mu site nga baidi site nga bwetambula era basobole okuboneka nti bagemagana n'abakolowo oba abakungu abaidde ku musomo guno okwagana nti balinga mu bizibu byaibwe ne mu mbeera yaabwe n'enfuna yaabwe okusobola okubanga bakulankulana ekitundu nga bonabona bali walala okusenga okubanga babasenda baidde babe nga babanagula bunagule ekyo kyo bakisanukire ensonga ey'okuboneka nti emisomo gino giteebwawo.
We presented this fiscal development plan of the city to the Fiscal Planning Committee of Jinja, which approved this plan and recommended it to the National Fiscal Planning Board for approval. As a ministry, before presenting to the board, there is a technical team of the ministry where all plans are presented before they go to the National Fiscal Planning Board. And this technical committee helps to ensure that all plans that are presented to the board meet the standards of the National Fiscal Planning Board. So the same way, although the Jinja City Fiscal Development Plan was prepared by a team of officers from the ministry and the city, the plan was again presented to that technical team of the ministry for them to be sure that what the officers have done will meet the standards of the National Fiscal Planning Board. And the technical team recommended the plan of Jinja City to the National Fiscal Planning Board for approval. But besides the fiscal development plan covering the entire city, we went ahead, prepared detailed plans. Because when you're planning an area, like a city, for example, it doesn't stop at only that land use plan or the structure plan that show, because the structure plan only shows that this big area we see in yellow, those are institutions. You are supposed to put there schools, hospitals. This big purple area, very big area, those are industries. That is what a structure plan shows. So to implement that plan, you have to go and prepare detailed plans. So we identified one area in Jinja called Namizi Ward and prepared a detailed plan for it. So that plan, of course, it is detailed as the name goes. It will show you all the plots within Namizi. Ideally, when you look at that plan of Namizi, you are able, if you have a house in Namizi and you look critically at that plan, you are able to identify where your plot or where your house lies, because this plan is detailed. It shows you the subdivisions or the plots of land and the necessary other proposals like schools, even nursery schools, and all other institutions. So we did this urban design plan for Namizi, and we hope the process we went through in planning Jinja will inform subsequent planning processes in the country. So after we prepared this plan, at the beginning, we had an objective of coming up with a cookbook, or what we call a fiscal planning manual. This fiscal planning manual, so that if I'm a fiscal planner in an urban area, I'm a fresh graduate, I can read this manual and I'm able to understand how a fiscal development plan is prepared. So we captured all the processes we went through from A to Z in the planning process of Jinja, and we have detailed them in this fiscal planning manual. So if you're a fiscal planner all over the country, you are in Kamwenge, you are in deep down there in the western, any district in Uganda or any local government, you can approach the Ministry of Lands. There is this fiscal planning manual that you can read and understand how a fiscal development plan is prepared. And we think this is a very important book that will inform subsequent planning processes in the country.
Mwebale kutusomesa nibye mutukoleire byona byona mwebale kuba mutulisiisa mutuwaire ebyo ebyokuyamba ekyalo n'okutuzimba mu mubiri wonna mwebale no mwebalira esigaire ngalo binayitaga kabwa Dream Center.